It's rumoured tonight by Dan Raphael on his Substack and confirmed and reported by Michael Benson on talkSPORT on his Twitter account that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder could be on the same card on the 23rd of December in Saudi Arabia. Raphael reported that Turki Al-Sheikh of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, His Excellency the Minister, who recently put on Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, is looking to underwrite and make this card happen. How do you feel about the fact, I'm looking at Benson's Twitter right now and he's going, Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin, Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker, Dimitri Bivol versus Richard Rivera, Daniel Dubois versus TBC, Martin Bakole, TBC. What a card, if it's true, George.
Yeah, if it's true, it's a great card. He's got, not the two biggest names and not the two best heavyweights in the world.
Two of the top four.
But he's got two of the top four, certainly, in Joshua.
That's huge.
And yeah, it is. It's this big card.
Imagine if we had Dimitri Bivol fighting X and Artur Betiev on the undercard or chief support on the same card. Would we not be saying that's a great card and we know what's going to happen next? They're going to meet each other, aren't they?
Yeah. But they're the two best in the division.
Yeah, fair enough. Usyk and Fury, the best. But we know that's happening in February.
Yeah, so February,
That's
Fury, I don't know. I'm not up to date with that.
Fury and Usyk will fight in February, in my view.
Yeah.
Fury, look, I mean, I haven't had your view on it at the moment. Fury and Ngannou fought 2 weeks ago now. Mm-hmm. It's the worst I've ever seen Fury. Not the worst I've ever seen him, but it's a very poor Fury in there. And
when was he worse, do you think?
When he fought John McDermott at the Brentwood Leisure Centre, when he punched himself with an uppercut.
Yeah, we are going back some time.
But he was a different man then. He was a traveller fighter with curly ringlets and very, very young in his career. In a very close fight that night, by the way.
Yep.
Do you remember that fight? Were you there?
I can't remember.
That was the night before Frank Maloney had a heart
attack.
attack, I think. And the lad, who was the lad who lived with him, one of the Irish boxers that died? Do you remember that?
Darren Sutherland.
Darren Sutherland. It was the night before Frank had a heart attack and Darren Sutherland passed away soon. It might have been because of that, actually, the heart attack. It was a terrible night. But of those events, Fury was awful in that fight.
Yeah, he wasn't good. So
he was trying to thresh. He was punching, like this to the body. Never really got his game together. And John McDermott, who was the son of Stan McDermott, and they were travellers as well.
Yep.
Yeah, Stan McDermott was a knock me down, I'll knock you down heavyweight in the 70s. Same time or a bit earlier than Big John Fury.
Right.
And so it was a big traveller rivalry that night. I'm telling you, I've never seen so many trucks and big people in the car park in a Brentwood Leisure Centre. It was mad. It was dark. But it was fantastic as well. The ring squeezed up against one corner of the Leisure Centre. Do you remember that fight?
Yeah, I can't remember if I was at that one or another one. I think they boxed twice. But I definitely saw Fury box at the Brentwood Leisure Centre. It was likely a Mick Hennessy card, maybe, I think.
There was a Hennessy card. Back to Fury and Ngannou. Just tell me in brief what you felt about that event.
The event, it seemed...
The fight, I mean.
The fight, sorry, yeah. So the fight, it was... I thought Ngannou won, but either way, I wasn't sitting there with a pen and paper scoring the rounds, Gareth. That's what I'm... Hands up, so I didn't think I needed to. So, halfway through the fight, I'm thinking... Fury's been dropped here, and I don't think he's really winning these rounds.
He's trying to come back. He's trying to find ascendancy, but he's not getting it, is he?
No, he's not. I mean, he's.
But he's winning. He's nicking some of the rounds for me.
Yeah.
I
mean, possibly.
I had him winning by a round or maybe 2 rounds.
Yeah, and I think the Tyson Fury fans, and you might be one of them who really appreciates what Tyson Fury does.
Yeah, I do.
Whereas if you're like, well, actually. Ngannou looks like he's sort of dominating in terms of being able to boss the fight.
On the eye test, yes.
Maybe landing the bigger punches, the more eye-catching.
Yeah, correct.
So for me, someone who maybe peppers a bit more with some loose, fast shots, but gets caught more with the eye-catching shots, I always give the round to the guy who lands the eye-catching shots. So, but as I say, to be honest, I wasn't sitting there scoring round by round. And sometimes you got a consensus that one guy's won, but when you look down at your piece of paper, you realise, oh no, wait, this is either much closer than I thought, or actually it's gone the other way. But Fury, let's get straight. Fury was awful. Like, he was awful.
Interesting points were made about interesting points were made that when you. Shaka Stevenson, we'll hear from him later when he says this, that he's had sparring sessions when he's going there and he knows who he's sparring, and knows it's going to be no problem at all. And you don't get that sharpener of adrenaline on the way there. But when you know someone's coming to take your head off and you actually appreciate it, your body feels different. Can you appreciate that?
Yeah, I know. I can see what you're saying. You're a little bit too relaxed or too switched off. And Fury definitely overlooked Ngannou, did not think he was going to be any form of challenge. I don't think he's had competitive sparring in a long, long time, Fury. He looked, when he was getting hit, he had that look of a fighter who hasn't been hit in a long time. And, you know, there's that element of panic that would come in on a prospect's face, but because he is vastly experienced and because ultimately he's at the end of the rainbow now, you know, like, he's got this big fight. He's already signed in for the biggest fight of his life, you know,
which we believe's in February against Alexander Usyk out in Saudi Arabia, by the way. Let me throw to you about December the 23rd. What's your feelings about how big is that event if it happens then, with a Wilder on it, with a Joshua on it? How big does that make that event with a Parker on it?
It's exciting, but is it too much, Gareth? Is it too? Do you need that many stars who are not fighting each other? They're just fighting on one card. Would you rather have that spread over different weekends? No. Would you want it in the UK?
Yeah.
Would you want it in Vegas?
Yeah. But it's not. It's going to be in. I think it's going to be. Who knows? It's looking like it's going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, because the argument at the moment for a lot of people is, would these fights, and the promoters especially say, would these fights can't get made without basically the Saudi money? But all of them fights could get made anywhere else in the world. Could you get them all on one night? Absolutely not. But do we need them all on one night? It'd be really great, and I'm sure you'll be out there, Gareth, and it'd be big name after big name. And you've had a great night, but then maybe the next morning you're thinking, oh, I would have enjoyed that if that was a great month.
That event in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago, from start to finish, I'm talking about the whole event now, the gala dinner, the way they built it.
What did you eat at the gala dinner?
What did I eat? God, I was so busy talking to Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture and hugging Manny Pacquiao and interviewing Lennox Lewis, chatting to Mike Tyson. I can't even remember what I ate, but was so busy enjoying this room full of some of the greatest names. I wish you'd been there. Wish you and Frotch had been there. Some of the greatest names I've come across in boxing and MMA in the last 30 years. You know, what did I eat at the dinner? I think it was really delicious food. I mean, I don't recall, because Ronaldinho was sitting over there, and Eminem walked past there, and you know it was just staggering.
So was it the best event you've ever been to?
Yeah, no question, the biggest event I've ever been to in my life. Yeah. And
can I say, and I'm definitely not trying to bash the Saudis, because I think this is great. For me, who wasn't there and didn't get to
do you wish you'd been invited?
No. But
I wish you'd been invited.
I wasn't there. But it didn't. The excitement that you was having didn't transpire through the screen. When I'm sitting at home watching it, it did. And then I'm trying to figure out what was the difference.
By Fury and Ngannou.
The fight, but you're talking about the event. The fight, sure, because you're like, wow, this is a massive spanner in the works. You're left scratching your head because you're like,
and we're still talking about it 2 weeks later.
Yeah, exactly. And
so what didn't translate to you in excitement then?
The event.
The day after day.
You know, like,
yeah, but when there's a Vegas event, you watch it all week.
Do you know when you watch a big fight, and it could be Vegas, could be New York, it could be London, could be the Manchester Arena. When you're watching it at home, I get a bit of a feel of the atmosphere. I feel like I'm getting a buzz of the event like that. But I don't think the Saudis have yet, maybe because they're brand new at it, they wasn't able to portray that outwards. And essentially, I think they've got that many stars in the room for all of us watching at home. You know, it wasn't all just for your pleasure, Gareth. You know, that they brought in.
You make a very interesting point, and the point you're making is what you didn't get was the explosion of noise from the crowd there. You didn't get that in the Giant Arena because they're learning about fight sports, learning about the behaviourism at a fight sports very. Because I remember being, I love the walk-ins and, you know, Sweet Caroline and all those things. I'm out on my seat singing. Yeah, I'm in. And when I looked around, people, you know, a lot of local people there. That excitement, yes, it translated when all the heavyweights were being knocked out and Jack McGann knocked out Roberto Duran Jr. in the outside arena before we walked into the internal arena, because there were two arenas, as you know. There wasn't the same crowd noise that you get at the O2 Arena or you get at the MGM Grand, because I think the local populace are learning about that event. Do you mean that?
Well, that is the question. I'm asking, what is it? And I'm asking you because you was there. But when I'm watching on TV, it just doesn't get that. It just doesn't get the same part across. And it might just be because, as you say, the people in the arena ain't used to the big fights. Maybe the arena's not built for the acoustics to create that atmosphere.
No, the acoustics were good in there. And I do think there was drama in the fight itself where there was such an element of shock.
Well, yeah, it's the most dramatic fight that there's been in a long time.
Yeah.